Person signed up, I don't see him, is Mayor Eddie Perez. Somebody from the mayor's office, I take it.
My name is Attorney Perez, member of the Hartford City Council. First of all, good morning, Senator McDonald, Representative Lawler, and members of the Judiciary Committee. I'm here today presenting some testimony that has been previously filed by Mayor Perez, and I'm here today to support House Bill 7395, an act concerning marriage equality. House Bill 7395 is a very important piece of legislation because it moves toward the very principle upon which this country was founded and that this country has struggled to enforce, that all men are created equal. House Bill 7395 ensures that it gives legal recognition to civil marriages, and those marriages are equal under the law to traditional marriages. It does this without any effect on the religious ceremonies or traditions of any church, synagogue, or mosque. It is a simple piece of legislation dedicated to equal rights. I respectfully request that the legislature pass this piece of legislation, and in closing, I would like to read a City Council resolution which was passed unanimously by the Hartford Court of Common Council of the City of Hartford in support of this legislation. And it indicates, whereas legal recognition of civil marriage is currently not available from the state of Connecticut to same-sex couples, and same-sex couples are excluded from this right, which is currently reserved only for heterosexual couples, thereby denying equal rights to many residents in a discriminatory manner. Whereas state lawmakers, Senator Andrew McDonald, Representative Michael Lawler, have introduced civil marriage bill that would end discrimination against same-sex couples, and currently granted in our state, in our sister state of Massachusetts and other countries, so that all people receive equal rights and benefits and protections that civil marriage provides. Whereas state lawmakers intend to deliver protection and social support of the community through the recognition of same-sex marriage. And whereas civil marriage equality bill provides legal rights to same-sex couples in Connecticut and affording equal rights with dignity. And whereas the Civil Marriage Equality Bill also offers an important step forward in the social understanding of personal freedom, and that civil marriage provided by the state should not discriminate, and that civil marriage is not only founded in love, but that it is a civil right, especially to those subjected to social, economic, and legal discrimination due to sexual orientation or gender identity expression. Same-sex couples ought to have these rights protected, full legitimacy and protection under the law, and whereas the Civil Marriage Equality Bill will not force churches or religious institutions to either sponsor, advocate, support, or officiate the marriages of same-sex couples. Therefore, be it known that the Hartford Court of Common Council supports the passage of the Civil Marriage Equality Bill under consideration by the state legislature. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your testimony. Are there any questions? Senator Gomes.
I just wanted to ask, has your testimony in writing been submitted to the...
Yes, it has. It has been as part of the record.
It is? We'll get a copy then.
Thank you. Representative Morris?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for being here today, Mayor. Could you help me be a little bit more specific? What rights would civil marriage provide that we haven't already provided under the Civil Unions Act as we currently have it? What specific rights?
Specific rights. Back in October of 2004, I believe the first day that the civil union law became into effect, I rushed to City Hall, me and my partner of 10 years, to attempt to have the government recognize our right to exist as a couple. Usually that is termed marriage, but in our case, it was not called marriage. We were basically sent to another line to attempt to enforce our rights. As someone who came to New York in 1965, the product of a Puerto Rican woman who was very white and a Puerto Rican stepfather who happened to be very black, we ran up to the state of New York hoping that their discrimination would end. 40 years later, I find myself in the state of Connecticut, and I find myself being sent to a separate line. I think the first issue that civil union does not provide, that marriage provides, is respect. I demand to be respected as an individual. I do everything in this state that the law requires me to do. I go to church, I pay my taxes, I'm very well loved in my community, I volunteer on different boards. Why can I not have the same rights that other people have? Okay, why can I not have that right? It doesn't offend anybody else. I'm not asking any church. I come from a very religious family. Have two bright nephews that are studying in the seminary. They understand my situation, they understand that of my partner, and they know, just as the mayor, who was one of the prime sponsors of this resolution, the mayor has his own views on marriage. He and his wife have different views of marriage. Their views of marriage and my views of marriage are different. Yet the city council came together because they recognize that this is a civil rights issue. And thanks the Lord, and thanks all of you for being here today, maybe we can have an intelligent conversation about what marriage is, what marriage isn't, what civil marriage is, and what civil marriage isn't. Because I, for one, want my civil rights, and I want my civil rights now.
Thank you for that testimony. I just need to be clear on something. I think the dating you said was as soon as the bill was passed, you said in 2004?
I
that
believe
you were, is that what you said?
Yeah, 2005, I believe, yes.
Okay. Would you say that that would still be the situation today, 2 years later, that somehow you're not being allowed to exist as a couple?
Fortunately for me, being an attorney, even before the civil union bill, I was able to think up of crafty ways of having my rights enforced as an individual. So we were always very crafty in terms of how to do wills and how to do different documents to sort of protect ourselves. But I think that not everybody should have to be an attorney to protect themselves that way. And I think that recognition of unions in a marriage situation basically allows the state to recognize those rights with people having to go through detours to attempt to achieve some rights. But I don't believe that the civil union bill, I'm still considered in a separate category. I'm still not afforded the many protections provided on the federal government in terms of marriage rights. And I'm still in a separate category that leaves a lot of people suspect as to why I am there. I said to the council that oftentimes, by being in a separate category, it raises the doubts in many other people's mind as to why I am there. And it just leaves it to too many innuendos as to why I'm in that separate category.
And I think you're an attorney, and I agree. I think that we did a good thing trying to give the rights to same-sex couples, those that we could afford under the state. However, I'm hearing you say that there are rights that you can't receive federally. If we were to change the language, would this give you those federal rights?
It might not, but you know what? It would make a world of a difference to me as a resident of this great state of Connecticut that I am treated no differently and that my own home state is not discriminating against me.
Okay. But it certainly wouldn't give you the federal rights.
Not immediately.
Okay. Thank you so much for your
Thank you.
testimony.
Is there anything further?